and then scroll down yet again, combined levy info. And basically, you're going to have what was out at the, when you first walk in. On the second page, you scroll down, please. The circled levies are the three levies that would be combined. Those are our existing levies, and this is the Mahoney County Auditor's rate worksheet. And when you add those three together, at the bottom it shows that we're currently paying 9.2 mils. Those, on this next page here, were originally voted in that first column at 7.6, 6.9, and 5.9 mils. So that's 20.4 mils was the original voted millage over the time since 1988, 96, and 2004. Current millage at 9.2. And then, to my surprise, when I put this to get certified after we passed the resolution to put it on, it got certified at 8.8 mils. And then the last page shows you the ballot language. Shall the levy renewing three existing levies, blah, blah, blah. So this would give anybody who's interested the opportunity on the website to look at it on your own slowly and see what it's about.
Is there any way we can put no new taxes?
This has to be informational because we're not allowed to spend board funds to say please support or do anything like that. We can do that. Citizens for South Range
Right under there. We put the bullet and put does not increase taxes or new taxes.
Well, I think we're saying that it's got 9.2 mils and it's going down to 8.8. That's information, and I mean, it doesn't really out say that. I ran all this by the lawyer, believe it or not. This stuff gets crazy. It's like you tie your hands and say, go do your job. I had to be very careful on how it was done, and I got our lawyer's approval that this would get us. All I'm trying to do is get the information out there. Because we don't have funds to do yard signs and mailers and all the things that we normally do as Citizens for South Range, people, our constituents form a committee and call themselves Citizens for South Range, and then they promote the levy. We're not doing any of that here. It's a short time, they're just renewals. It's a nice new idea that I presented you a few months ago, and we agreed to give it a shot. Again, I wouldn't recommend it. I personally didn't think it was a great idea, but we'll see what people think. I just want them to have the information I need to know what not to add to the system. Moving on to the number part of my presentation. Our current fund balance in the regular general fund is $3,772,824.15. Encumbered against that, $1,924,185.46, leaving an unencumbered balance of $1,848,638.69. We are waiting on final settlement. It should come sometime this week from the second half calendar year collections. I think that obviously the second half traditionally in the old days was exactly pretty much what the first half is, less any delinquencies from the prior year or new delinquencies. Now that they have the ability to pay your taxes up front the first half and just not pay second half at all, makes it a little more difficult for me to forecast exactly what that's going to be. But I'm expecting a couple of $100,000 more for a final settlement. Going to the back page, the fiscal year 19 grants, you can see you're starting to run into negative, and I'll be in October, November, doing the first project cash request for those. And the fiscal year 18 grants, I've done project cash requests for those just this week, at the end of last week. We're doing what's called a final expenditure report and last project cash request. That's because the money has to be spent by June 30th, but you have until August to expend it. And since most of our grants pay salaries of different special ed teachers and that sort of thing, they're done at the beginning of June, but we still pay them through the summer. And so I have to move the project cash request for the salaries that were paid in July and August. Our total fund balance, all funds, is $5,723,954.64. Numbered against that, $2,279,332.88, leaving an unencumbered balance of $3,444,621.76. We also received, before I go there, let's do the reconciliation. Of the total fund balance, $5,723,954.64. We had in Star, Ohio, $232,639.63. At Home Savings, $1,008,455.26. And in our Farmers Suite, $3,868,242.42. Our petty cash totals are always $780. And we do all that plus and minus math, it comes out to $613,837.33. And that proves out as follows. Our regular farmers account, $850,000 even. Outstanding checks, $236,162.67. And that math does prove out at $613,837.33. And now, if there are any questions on the revenue report, appropriation report, or check pay report, which you also received, I can entertain them, and if not,
I have one question.
yes.
Under the general funds for salaries, going from October to November, it increases $271,000.
What are you talking about?
For
Which report?
under appropriations, under the general fund.
Going from,
Yeah, under the appropriation packet, I believe it's the last page, projected.
okay. All right, when you said October to November, I'm thinking that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
The list going down where it says projected.
Yeah, well, the projected, all that is, when we do our computer system appropriations, it allows you to put in, to increase it by 1% or 2%. I just hold it steady on this document to compare from one year to the next.
Okay.
The number that I give you when I do the 5-year forecast and what's backed up for appropriations, which I'll be asking you to adopt later, that's where I do use the statistical formulas to come up with what we're going to spend this year versus what we spent last year. So I don't use that particular program for that purpose. That's just a comparative between last year and this year.
No, actually, when we under expenditures for salaries,
Well, you have to look under fiscal year-to-date actual expenditures. That's what we spent. And there's a month-to-date column.
yeah, go down. Okay, I'm ahead of you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, seeing as there's none, do you have a motion to move?
So moved.
Ralph moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is interim purchases with Mr. Phillips.
Should Brown Springfield
Yeah, Brown Springfield.
underneath reports.
Oh, purchases. Okay, I thought you said appropriation.
No, interim purchases, I'm sorry.
Okay, whenever we spend more money before we appropriate it, before the purchase order was certified that the funds were there by me, it's over $1,000, we have to have board approval before I can pay it. And so the Brown Sprinkler, which is a contract on our water fire system here, got put up for payment, and it gets flagged in our accounts payable department. Don't pay that because I didn't serve a purchase order prior. Actually, that probably was usually if we're covered by a contract, we can go ahead and pay it, if the contract would probably expire. So I'm just asking you to let me pay that $1,200.
Any questions on that?
Is there any way in the future to get cheaper maintenance done, or is that, or like do we look around, shop around for that, or?
I don't know, some of the stuff, I know Dean here, he does look around. Other stuff is proprietary, and like, I don't know about Brown Sprinkler, just for example, a lot of the Johnson Control stuff, their parts can't be gotten by, Jim's HVAC company. Am I saying that
That
accurately?
is competitive, and we did go out and shop around and look at those contracts and look for competitors. So it's pretty much $1,200 is right around where we look at.
And additionally, when we built this building, in partnership with the state of Ohio, we had initial contracts that ran as long as 4 years, I think some of them ran. And while we were partnered with them, what was that commission called? It told us who was the low bidder on that stuff, and we had to have them for that first 4 years. Once that's expired, anything that's not proprietary, they look for. They look for better deals than it.
Any more discussion on that? Okay, do I have a motion to move on that?
So moved.
Amy moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Jerry seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is student activity account. Mr. Phillips?
I'm not allowed to create any funds without board approval, which is a higher revised code that protects school districts all around the state from people who may not be honest, creating accounts and doing bad things with them. We've been asked by one of the teachers to have what we're going to call a popcorn and more store, so that they can sell popcorn and maybe a few other things to raise money to put a food in. It's just running back of us.
It's our old industrial tech classroom that our ED classroom is back there right now.
And so this allows me to create the Fund 211, or 911, so that they can exist as a student activity.
Any discussion on that? Do I have a motion? Ralph moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business, Mr. Donald.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome everyone to tonight's board meeting. We have our normal supervisors, directors, building principals, grade level good news reports tonight. Additionally, in September, we introduced new staff to the board and those in the audience. Mr. Mavis is not here tonight, and it's probably best that there really isn't any new staff, full-time staff members new to the elementary school. We do have some changes in the middle and high, so we'll start with Mr. Zolik. And would you start? Pardon me? I can do Karen, you can, it doesn't matter, that's fine.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't attend last month's meeting, so it's welcome back, I guess, to the new school year. I'm going to introduce two new people. We have first Bill Beaver. Bill is our moderate to intensive special needs classroom through the county that houses right now South Range residents, students who are residents of our district. Bill was started off, I think he's having a really good time in the classroom. Bill, go ahead, stand up, introduce yourself, maybe say a couple things about what's going on in your classroom.
My name is Bill Beaver. This is my first year teaching the class of 7 students that do need special instruction. Right now, 3 of the gentlemen are with me all day, and the other students go in and out of the room, so it's kind of a little chaotic at sometimes, but we get everything done. It's pretty fun. We get a lot of fun doing it. So.
Okay, so thanks, Bill. Welcome to South Range. And the next individual is Karen Coaches. Karen is with YIS. We have a new, I'll call it counseling program in-house this year. I'll let her speak to that. She has staff working under her who they were unable to attend this evening, but Karen is here to represent John and the crew, talk about the Voyage program that's happening in our hallways.
Hi, I'm Karen Coaches. I am the Program Director for Youth Intensive Services, and we're starting a program called Voyage here, and it's a positive school-based program. And what that means is that we're going to build on the kids' strengths, not on the weaknesses. We're going to help them to manage themselves in the classroom and outside the classroom. It's kind of a 3-pronged program. The first one is the in-school. We see them when they need us, so if John has trouble at 2 o'clock on math, we're going to be in John's classroom at 2 o'clock to help make sure he gets to the math class. The second part is we do home and community, which means that a lot of times parents are having as much difficulty as they're with them at home as they're having, say, at school. So then we are able to go out to the home, work with the families, and try to get everybody all on the same page. And then the third component is we have a counselor in the building who can see kids as an outpatient counselor so that the parents don't have to take them after work, after school. Because a lot of times we know that people live pretty chaotic lives, and trying to get their kid to counseling every week is kind of tough. So we're able to do that with inside the building. Every 9 weeks we do a family night where we just do a fun activity, we feed everybody, and we just try to have a really good night. So those are some of the things we do. We also do summer camps so that we can build skills, because a lot of the kids need social skills, and so during that 6 weeks, we tend to spend most of our time building skills like friendship and coping skills and managing your anger and all those sort of things. But everything's wrapped around a very positive base, so that the kids' self-esteem is built, because we know the kids with good self-esteem rarely have trouble in school. But I'm here if anyone has questions. I have brochures, I have business cards if you need anything. Anybody have any questions?
Are you only catering to the middle school, or are you?
K-12.
K-12, perfect.
Going at K-12, and this is no cost to South Range School.
That is correct. It's free of charge to the school. Any other questions?
Who pays for it?
Medicaid. It's Medicaid building.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Mr. Rowan, high
Good
school
evening,
leader.
everyone. High school good news, I have 2 new staff members. Short time in high school, they both have already made a big impact on our school, on our kids. One nice thing, in the hallways, you can hear kids talking, and you hear good, bad, or indifferent. And I would say that a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing about both the individuals that we have recently brought to the high school, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of grumbling, I guess, for one of them, because it's kind of a stingent room now, where there's a little more of a attention to order and to having it be purposeful. So I'm going to let a lot of people know Paul Munson and Gianna Marinucci. I'm going to let each one of them come up and introduce themselves. Ladies first. Yeah.
All right, hi, I'm Gianna Marinucci. I am a high school math teacher. I'm teaching Algebra 2 and Geometry here. This is my 3rd year of teaching. I spent my first 2 years at Austintown, and now I'm happy to be here. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's been great so far. The students are awesome, and the staff has made me feel really welcome, so I'm looking forward to the future.
Thank you, Gianna.
I'm Paul Munson. Hello, everybody. If you don't know who I am, you've probably heard me at least, so, because I'm the voice of the Raiders, if you want to say that. So, I'm here for the study hall. I took over for Mrs. Suzinski. So, obviously, Mr. Rowan was talking about me as being the one as being the stringent one in there. So, but it's keeping the kids in line, keeping them occupied, so they're not just in there running wild. So they're studying, doing work they need to do, and it's good to be back. So, I was here back in 02 through 05, and I stepped away, and I'm back.
It's good to have you back. Thank you. New staff.
Good. Student service.
Mrs. Pierce.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so, oops. Okay, so first and foremost, if you don't follow South Range Cafeteria on Instagram, you need to. It's SouthRange_cafe. So I just posted yesterday with Mr. Ina's 3rd grade class. His class helped me dig up 4 rows of potatoes out in the garden, and it was a lot of fun. The kids had a great time. Aside from the potatoes, they also found 2 toads, and they collected 2 handfuls of worms, to feed Mr. Iron's turtles, Cookie and Squirt, that I didn't know he had. So that was a blast with the kids. And then I promised that with all the potatoes they dug up, that I would make them baked fries instead of French fries. We don't have fryers in the cafeteria. And they loved that as well. They thought they were awesome. So I think we got, I don't know how many pounds, 20, 30 pounds of potatoes. I have a picture of it on Instagram. So we peeled everything and baked the fries, and the kids really liked them. So that was a blast. We already had requests for another garden next year from the 3rd graders. And also tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, is Lunch for Life in the cafeteria, and that's just for kindergarten students. Those 3 days, they are eligible to get a free lunch paid for by the nutrition group. It's just to promote them coming to the lunch line, getting to know the ladies, getting to know the flow. So even if they're a normal packer and they do pack their lunch, they're more than welcome to just come through the line to see the motion of it. They could grab a pizza or, whatever they'd like, and I'm giving away just small giveaways, pencils, bookmarks, like a special treat, just to kind of promote them to come. So that's the news from the cafeteria. Thank you.
Thank you. Farron is not with us this evening. We have curriculum instruction, special education. Sherry Lewis.
Good evening, everybody. I think you can hear me. I'm certainly loud enough. So I wanted to take a couple minutes. I think everybody is familiar with the fact that our local report cards are now released. All the measures have been kind of publicized for everyone to take a look at. It's very tough to put everything into a very quick snapshot because I think our accountability system in Ohio is extremely complicated. But I would like to take a couple minutes and go through some of those measures, how they've compared to in the past and how they compare this year. And the first one is a difference from last year's report card to this year's. We have now been boiled down to one component grade. So they take those lots and lots and lots of measures and they kind of compile it to one overall grade. And this year our grade was a C. I'm sure you've looked at some of the other schools in the surrounding areas. Our county, lots of C's, some sprinkling of B's. And then of course there are some other grades that are lower than that. So this grade is made up of 6 component grades, which are made up of multiple other grades. So the first one is achievement. This is nothing new. This is made up of our indicators as well as our performance index. On the left-hand side, you'll see this year our achievement grade was a B, and that is an improvement from last year's achievement grade that was a C. So we are very, very happy about that. We earned quite a few of the indicators this year. In many of those categories, we were the highest in the county, and our performance index was quite a bit higher, which is where our kids are scoring at those higher levels of performance instead of just passing the tests. So that was a nice improvement for us. Progress is a really tough measure. I feel like I stand up and say this every year, and part of the issue is it is a 3-year measure. So when you have 1 year of data that is difficult, and we definitely have had that, it is with you for 3 consecutive years. So as quickly as we want this off the report card, it does not happen that way. So we're looking at truly measuring the growth of kids from one grade level to another and holding on to those scores over a time period. So as much as we don't like to see that grade, it kind of smacks us in the face because of the fact that it's a multi-year measure. Gap closing, this is another area that I'm super, super proud of the kids and our staff for. Last year we had B in this measure, and this year that is an A, which means it's a 1-year measure of how our at-risk populations are doing and getting closer and closer to grade level. So when you look at our subgroups of students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged, we are making massive gains with those groups of kids so that they are closer to grade level and much more successful at the curriculum that is expected at the state level. So very proud of that measure. Graduation rate, that's a 2-year measure. It's a 1-year measure, but it looks at kids graduating in 4 years, and then we do have some students who require some additional trainings and would graduate in 5 years. So last year we were in A, this year we're also in A. There have been some changes to the graduation requirements affecting our 2019 students, and I will say Mr. Rowan has done a really nice job of kind of being very proactive of making sure our students meet those new criteria, and stay tuned if those criteria do change as the year unfolds. That has happened to us several times in the past. K-3 literacy, this was a C last year, and we fell a little bit this year to a D. Part of the thing we're going to be looking at the elementary level is truly identifying those at-risk readers, and what are we doing to ensure that they are going to pass that third grade test, and making sure that they have the interventions in place prior to that third grade test. We've worked through this measure for a couple of years because how we identify at-risk kids is really a local decision. So it's one of those things that we're really fine-tuning how we, first of all, find our students and what we're doing for those students. So that's one of the things at the elementary level we'll be looking a little bit closer at this year. And then the last component is prepared for success. Last year we had a C in this category, and this year it is a D. Again, a little bit of a slip there. This is another complex metric that uses multiple measures of things that we offer at the high school level and the points that kids accumulate. One would think it goes hand in hand with graduation, but there are some additional steps for students to earn in order to get categories. Any points in this category, which would be things like ACT college ready scores, SAT college ready scores if we take them, kids that get a 3 or better on AP tests. There's several different categories that make up this component. So again, at the high school level, looking at some of those areas that we can just increase opportunities for our kids to certainly look at that grade level a little bit different. So finally, I just want to close with, this is an ongoing thing we do. We constantly look at data, not just the state data. We take a lot of local data to make sure that we do have all the pieces in place for our kids at every grade level, at every level, to be very successful and on track for a very successful graduation and after graduation. So like really quick snapshot of that.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Bagnata?
Good evening, everyone. I don't think I need a mic either. That's a hot mic. That's really so. But I was going to talk a little bit tonight about some of the robocall that went out, the whole lead and copper thing, and what we need to test for, what we don't need to test for, and basically how this works. Since we are a public water system, we serve water in the school, that you are our public, the students, staff, everyone that's here in the building. We are mandated by the EPA to follow their guidelines and conduct certain tests. And one of the parameters they test for is, of course, lead and copper. We're fine. We do not have a lead and copper problem. It was interesting hearing the kids talk about the water and, don't drink it or it's not. It was, the phone call that went out was a reporting issue and the location of where I was conducting the testing and misunderstanding with the EPA. So we correct that, but the EPA's way of correcting it is, you will tell your population this message. We don't have a choice on that. We have to communicate what they want us to communicate to. So basically what happened is they had a change in position at the EPA. I have a new supervisor that I work with out of the Twinsburg office. She gave me incorrect information on testing. I was testing alkalinity at our entry point. Now, entry point is where the water enters the building. Distribution is any tap outside of that entry point. We're K-12. So our water quality, our water throughout the facility doesn't change much from that point to, say, in the elementary. Pretty much the same. However, EPA says you're going to do this in distribution, not at the entry point. So if you wanted to take a look, I have the form that they are requesting and I'm still working on completing. I have one more alkalinity test that I'm waiting for results back from the lab on. That was taken on 9/11/18. But this is the form 5108 that they are requesting me to do.
every 6-month monitoring period at the same location twice in distribution. Again, a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, and I frequently go over my emails over and over again and call them and say, do you mean this? What do you mean by this? What should I do? I mean, they make you nervous. But this is the form they want. I have verification on that. You're welcome to look at that. And not only that, but I'll give you this form here. This is our MOR, they call it, monthly operating record. And this is what we test water quality every day here in the school. We have to test for certain components of the water to make sure it's safe to drink. I've been testing here twice a month alkalinity, pH, hardness, and manganese at our entry point. So everything they want, we're testing for. It's just not in the right location, and it's not necessarily reported to them the way they want it. So I'll leave this here. That's the maintenance side. Technology side, we did a consolidation of our printers and copiers, and hopefully I'll have more data to show, but we're showing a curve where we're saving money. We moved a lot of printers out of areas that didn't need them, centralized them, and we also purchased some more efficient printers to lower our overall cost, and that is certainly saving us money on the technology side. So, and like I said, I'll have more information as the school year goes on to see how those numbers work out, but right now we're looking good. So, thank you.
No, thank you. Did not intentionally skip over Mr. Dunn, our Transportation Director, but Ryan, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Transportation.
Evening, everyone. Just a few items. One, just our school year's off to a good start, and that's some thanks to our wonderful transportation staff. This past week, we did our preschool through 4th grade bus safety training with, once again, we used our robotic school bus, Buster the Bus, that we brought in from Lake County. Jan Freedy and I worked with the elementary students. We want to thank Mr. Steve Matus for allowing us to do that, taking up some of the time in the classroom. We will be hosting another Stuff the Bus event, this time for Hurricane Florence. With the project that we worked with last year, we will be hosting that at one of the next home games. Just want to share a few things for the board. This is our T2 report that we had back in July that we filled out. We are down about $20,000 in our department, and just want to show the board some of the things that we cut and things that we can improve on throughout the years. And we will definitely be looking into making more cuts in our department, not in a bad way, but just where we can save money with used parts or spending less money in dealerships and working more with our staff in-house. So just want to share that with the board, and that's it from transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
I also brought this picture for the board to see what a wonderful coordinator we have. He went to get Buster, the little bus, to take to all the students in South Range from preschool through grade 4. So Buster is up here, so I'd like for you to be introduced to Buster. He lights up, he shows you your caution lights, your red lights, the stop sign comes out. The children really love Buster. So I just thought you should know. We also taught him about the special bus that takes children, that lifts them up and down, and that you should not make fun of that person on this lift, that someday they could use it if they break a leg even, and can't walk up the steps, they could use this bus. So I brought this just in case Ryan would not bring it for you to see.
Thank you, Mrs. Friedman. We saw Buster. Buster was here, well, he was in the bus garage actually, and then he was over here for the rodeo we had.
Oh, okay, that's right. Well, I didn't know if the rest of the board.
It may not have. I was just ready to say, this is all the routes, the bus stops, procedures. We sent you an electronic version of it. If you do want a hard copy, and I'll be asking to approve this later this evening. If you want a hard copy, I can't leave that for you. This is about as thick as it gets when it comes to our bus routes. Thank you again, Ryan. Okay, representing South Range Schools Foundation, Mr. Eric Carlson, South Range Schools Foundation President. Eric, nice to see him come out maybe on a regular basis, at least to represent, just to share with us what's going on with the foundation.
Good evening. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick update as far as what's been going on with the foundation and a little bit of history about it. The foundation was established in 1989. Basically as a means to be able to help support our South Range students here. It's an arm for us to be able to help fundraise. It's an arm for the community to be able to give back. It's an arm for donors to be able to give money, to be able to help our students, to be able to give some of the extra things, some of the special grants, some of the different things that happen on that. Some of those things on there, last year for our 2017-18 school year, we were able to give $15,000 worth of grants per building, so that totaled $45,000. We were able to give another $10,000 in technology to be able to help upgrade technology things, give some extra things to be able to help support our students. And then we were also able to provide a Chrome cart for each of the 3 buildings that I believe had 30 machines on it, if I'm not correct, and that's another $24,000. So in total, just for the grants that we were able to provide on that end of it, was $79,000 we were able to provide back to our South Range students to be able to help give them some extra things on that end of it. In the last couple of years, we were able to establish a $25,000 endowment to the YSU Foundation. That endowment will then provide a $1,000 scholarship that maybe will grow a little bit over years on that end of it. But it'll provide a $1,000 scholarship in perpetuity for South Range students for as long as the school and the university exist on that end of it. And then we also decided as a board that we give a $1,000 self-funded scholarship to a student that wants to go to any other school or trade school in that area. We started these 2 scholarships. We had a couple of scholarships that some families had started that had run out, and we wanted to make sure that we were still being able to present some scholarships to our students on that. In addition, we gave $25,000 to the band shell to be able to help them with that project. We helped with an Eagle Scout project, which was the flagpole over at the new stadium. For 2 years, when the speech team went to state, we were able to give them extra $3,000 to be able to kind of help with funds and be able to get travel on that and be able to help the students so they didn't have some out-of-pocket expenses. And there's also miscellaneous other asks throughout the year that go on that the board tries to help. But all this money is going to be able to help our South Range students on that end of it, which we're very happy. There's a board, basically our board consists of 10 people, made up of community members, made up of principals, and some other school people on that end of it. So the board's very, very dedicated and very looking to be able to help our South Range students, be able to help them succeed and be able to help them continue their years through there. We've been doing one fundraiser, which was our night at the races. We raised about $20,000 to $25,000 each year for that. And then also a little commercial on that end. We're going to be having our second fundraiser this year, which is going to be this Saturday, 9/22. We're going to be doing the chicken barbecue and reverse raffle on that end of it. We have a little bit of music, food, reverse raffle on that end of it to be able to help try and raise a little bit of additional money. So if you haven't got some tickets and you'd like some tickets on there to see a board member, you can buy it. We're doing takeout on that end of it. We're doing the chicken barbecue that's doing by Blue Wolf Tavern. We're also doing raffle tickets. And then lastly, I'd like to thank the Rominger family. They're a huge donor of ours, a huge supporter of South Range, and a huge supporter of our South Range students. So, unless there's any questions, please let us talk.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Romingers give us about $3 million, correct? Over a 10-year period, I think.
No, they're giving us different yearly donations on that end of it.
At the end, it's about $10 million. At least I was president of the foundation when that came in. I thought it was, with Jimmy, was it $3 million?
I think it actually might total. It might total into 3.5, 4, somewhere like that.
$3.5 to $4 million. How much of that is going to be left over when that 10-year giving process is done?
Which
it was a bell curve, if I remember. It was a little donation to start, then it went up, and then it started to come back down. It was dispersed over 10 years.
No, it was actually dispersed over 30 years.
Oh, it was over 30? How are we, or are you guys basically endowing stuff or putting money away so that there will always be money left over from that?
There's monies that is endowed through our budgets, through our things as far as what's going on that end of it. And that's, we're endowing the money that we have coming in the door. It's up to future boards to be able to try and determine where some of those monies are going. Because we actually don't know what monies, we have a projection as far as what's going to be coming in, but we don't know exactly what we'll actually receive.
So what's most of the, what is most of the money now going to academics or athletics?
The Romingers have asked us to be able to support the stadium over there. That was their direction. We have to follow their wishes as far as how that money's spent.
I have the original letter from the Romingers.
I have a letter.
Not their direction.
I have a letter that Marcia sent to us that was after you were on the board to be able to present.
I appreciate your time, Eric.
Going down to law.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, Eric. They're a separate entity altogether, so. Next up is Legislative Liaison Report, Ms. Lally. Gaylord, do you have anything for student achievement?
I'm not the report.
Okay. All right, next up on the agenda is the approval of fiscal year 19 appropriations. Mr. Phillips?
Did she send that to you electronically?
Yes.
Well, I'm giving you a hard copy as well. So you've had a chance to read my summary, the brief summary I put on there, and basically, everybody's concerned with the general fund. Last year, our actual general fund appropriations was $13,080,100. Oh, boy. I copied something I shouldn't have copied and erased my number. This year's appropriations are $13,100,080. No, I did have the right numbers here. $13,100,000 even is this year's appropriations. Last year's final was $13,080,000. So we've increased it $20,000, which is 1/1500ths of 1%. And that's because of all the cuts that we made in March. Of course, saving, $900 and some $1,000, but then the inflationary for materials and supplies, purchase services, and then the salary 1% negotiated increase. And when all that works out, we actually do spend 0.15 of 1% more in the general fund this year projected than we did last year. And could be a little more than that, could be a little less. We'll all know better. Actually, probably in November, there's a House bill that our 5-year forecast, which we always have to have adopted by October 31st. And again, this year we'll have it adopted next month. But there's a House bill to move that to November because of the same reason that I discuss every year. We just don't have enough information yet for this year to make as reliable as a forecast based on just the first 2 months of July and August when kids weren't here and teachers weren't here. So, again, very slight increase in the general fund. Everything else from athletics and titles, federal grants, public school support, all we do there, as always, for those of you who haven't been around as long as we're up tonight, we take last year's actual and whatever was left over at the end of last year, and then last year's actual receipts, and make the assumption that it's reasonable to assume that we got $100 last year in receipts, you're going to get $100 this year. Add that to whatever was left over for last year, and that's where the first 4018 accounts come from. The grants, 4s and 500s, those are all assigned, and those, as of right now, the federal government changes those slightly as the year goes on, but those are handed to us, and they say, here's your grant amount. It can change just a few $100 either way, is typically what happens to us. Our debt service payment, whatever is scheduled on our amortization schedule is what I appropriated. And for the Ohio school facilities, again, if you look at the 034 and the FinDet, you'll see there's a lot more money than that, but as far as what we'll plan, I just increased that a small percentage to 0.39% over what we actually spent last year. And again, that particular fund will take care of emergencies, and we have water heaters that went down and that sort of thing. So it's kind of hard to forecast. If something breaks, we're going to replace it. Our total amended certificate, certified by the Mahoney County Budget Commission, would allow us to appropriate, if so needed, $19,461,280. Our actual appropriation is $15,469,830. That's all funds, not just general fund. So if there's any questions on anything on the packet that I gave you or backup information that I gave you, I can entertain those. And if not,
this is where I have a question. On the back page, if you go down to expenditures under salary, under in November and May, our salaries increased $271,000.
Yeah, those are 3 pay months.
Okay.
We get paid over 26 pays in any given oh, that's the question you were asking earlier.
Yes, that's
that
the
makes
question.
more sense.
That's the question I
Whole
was
different
asking
document.
earlier.
Yeah, there's 2 months a year where because of the way the calendar falls, there's a time at the end of the year and a time at the beginning of the year, and it's a different month every year, but there's two months, there's 3 days in a month. So that's why they're gonna be heavier. And the other thing is, this is just a planning document, so that's not a planning schedule per month so much. Basically, I take the total amount, if you look at the end where I estimated the total, and then I subtract from that total by formula the actual months, and then just spread it over. In all the other columns, you asked about salaries, that's divided by 26 times the number of payrolls. Everything else is just divided by the number of months left. And then it doesn't mean we're going to spend it that evenly, but it gives me the opportunity as the year moves on to see is there enough money left? Did I under appropriate? Did I over appropriate? And by December, I have a pretty good idea that, you know, if we're halfway through the year, we're going to be okay.
Okay.
If I need to come to you and ask to increase or decrease appropriations, we can do that. That's just a tool, a monitoring tool.
Any other discussion on that? All right.
So, I was just gonna say, so the total amended certificate you said is what we could change our appropriations to if necessary, or?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you look at your FinDebt, just let's take the bond issue, there's $1.2 million in there, and I'm just making these numbers up for sample's sake. Maybe we only need 800,000 this year, so there's an extra 400,000 that's on the amended certificate because that money's available. We just don't need it this year.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, next up is school bus route stops and procedures for the 2018-2019 school year, and I believe we all got a copy of the electronic copy of that. Is there any questions for Mr. Dunn on that? All right, seeing as there's none, next up is declaration of impracticality to transport and approval of payment in lieu of transportation. Mr. Dunn, do you mind going over
See,
that?
we have a number of students that we transport to private parochial schools outside the district. You see the names on here: Rockway's, Altamar, Slipsky, Walter, Driscoll's. And due to impracticality, just would not make sense for us to take a 64 or 72 passenger school bus outside the district. Time and distance and cost associated. So we would do a payment in lieu of transporting their son or daughter. Very normal this time of the year. If they attend and they transport their son or daughter all year, we have evidence of attendance, and we would pay them at the end of the school year, which would be June 19th.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on that? Seeing as there's none, next up is real estate company contract.
Mr. Phillips and I can both talk on this. As you're aware, we had an auction, an auction or deal, sealed bids, and we rejected a sealed bid from the Gate Church. At this point, we would like to, we thought maybe another person out there that we talked to did not have interest in the stadium property. At this point, we would like to enter an agreement with a real estate agent, Cutlick Realty, for at least 12 months. This agreement, you'll see there's a blank on about the 4th or 5th paragraph down. If you think we should go longer than 12 months, if you're in agreement to enter into this agreement, if you're in agreement, you could go 12 months or longer, or determined. At this point, the property's worth something, obviously. We just got to get it to the right person, and Mr. Cutlick will work with Mr. Phillips directly and with me, and I believe that he has the ability to advertise and do a much better job than we could in terms of getting it out there to the public. Folks, other thoughts?
Standard 6%, the amount that is on the contract there, he intends to ask $300,000 for it. He did ask that we take at the end of Nile Drive the gate down, which has been done, so that we can show how to get in to our property. If you go straight when you get to Nile Drive, you go to the Township Park, and if you turn left, there's not a drive there now, but that's how you move it in. He's asked that we drive over with a tractor a few times or do something to to show that that's the way it is. You get it out when it dries out.
I have notified the township officials of our intent to do that, the gate is down. Hopefully we'll have some so choose to.
Any discussion on that? And is everybody comfortable with the 12 months?
I don't want to go any longer.
Yeah, I think 12 months would be as long as I would want to go to. All right. Sounds good. So that's the end of our agenda items. So now we're going to open it up to public participation for all agenda items, and I'm planning on holding everybody at a 2-minute limit. If anybody's interested, you may step up to the microphone. Mr. Frecek, first off, congratulations is in store because I believe Canfield Fair. What was it?
Oh, the jam.
The jam. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Congratulations.
I make it every year. I put it in. You're trying to sell the old locker room, correct, for $300,000? Or what are you trying to sell?
The old football field, Memorial Stadium.
Memorial Stadium for $300,000. Why is that worth $300,000 when we let Ed Schaefer buy the entire old building for $80,000?
The old building, we were able to save 480-some thousand, if I remember right, by not having to tear it down because it was asbestos in it.
Which 50% would have been paid for by the state, so you saved about $200,000.
The other thing is that building that's the locker, it wasn't what you're calling a locker room, it was actually the wrestling room and original weight room that the athletic boosters built back in the early 2000s. That building is about $300,000. That's really what is for sale.
Well, that's what I said. Right? So it's really not the field so much as the building itself.
Oh, the field is a land.
So why is that little building worth $300,000 when the whole school was only worth $80,000, including contents? We never auctioned off the contents of that building.
Because first of all, we're not getting any money from the state for tearing it down with asbestos in it. So we took the $85,000 plus the 480-some thousand.
No, $200,000 because it would have cost us half that.
I'm trying to answer.
Okay, but you like your big numbers guy, Jimmy. Use real numbers. It would have cost us about $200,000 to tear it down after the state contribution.
No, it was scheduled by the Ohio School.
But you guys never even took that out to bid. You never got a bid to demolish it. You're just throwing that out there. But anyway, the other thing, are the five of you as embarrassed as I am about the state report card? 3 Ds, a B, and 2 As. I mean, I would hope to God the 5 of you, because you're the 5 that are accountable. You hire him, you hire them. It's a lack of leadership. The teachers have nothing to do with this. The teachers are like soldiers in an army. They show up every day, they fight hard. They're out there in the trenches every day trying to do the best that they can. This is a complete and total failure. It's a lack of leadership. When I moved out here, we were excellent with distinction. We were in the top 5% under Mr. Hall of districts in the state of Ohio. It's why I moved out here. We're now not anywhere close to that. This is embarrassing, and I hope the 5 of you plan on addressing it.
Thank you, Mr. Frecek, for those concerns. And honestly, I can speak for myself on this one. Yeah, there's some room for improvement. There's no doubt about it. With that being said, though, and like I said, I think we have a lot of room to improve. With that being said, we were also ranked 52nd out of 608 schools, according to Cleveland Plain Dealer. So while we have room to grow, we're also, it's not all doom and gloom either. So we do have some things to work on though. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
I think at the same time, we need to quit throwing out the fact that, oh yeah, we were 52nd, as if that's an excuse for our poor score. I think that's something that really gets on my nerves. Just because we're 50 whatever in the state doesn't mean we can't improve, and it doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking to improve, especially in the K-3 literacy, because if you can't read, your life is going to be that much harder. And I think we had roughly 74% of the kids that were at risk at not being proficient by the time they were done with 3rd grade ended up not moving into proficiency. And that's something that needs addressed preferably as soon as possible so that these kids can learn to read and learn to love reading so that their lives basically end up a lot easier.
And I want to make sure that we all realize that this is a very different way of testing our students than it was when we were excellent at distinction. We no longer use that system to evaluate our students. It's a much more rigorous and in-depth way of evaluating our students.
Well, in the end,
we still do compare in the state very, very well. And that's why people are coming here.
Here's
because
your
they
D.
know what a great
We
school
got a
is.
D and Poland got a D and prepared for success. The difference in the
And
end
Mrs.
is,
Lewis has addressed that, and she has commented that we've
if
had
you
some
look at
year
the
with
their 2011 graduating class, 63% of the kids from Poland that went to college graduated. Only 44.5% of the kids from South Range in the 2011 class that went to college graduated. That's almost a 20-point difference. You are 20% more, or you have a much, you're 20% more likely to graduate from college if you go to Poland than if you go to South Range.
All right, thank you for your concerns. Is there anybody else for public participation for the agenda items?
Actually, I actually got online and did some comparison with some of the other school districts in the area. And to address the prepared for success, Crestview got a D, Columbiana got a D, Springfield got an F, Canfield got a C, Poland got a D, Boardman got a D, Salem got an F, and Marlington got a D. I mean, that's prepared for success, and I think and overall, that's a hard.
58% of the kids at Canfield in the 2011 graduating class graduated from college. We're at 42. We're getting our butts kicked by the two districts.
We're also a
50 years old.
smaller district.
Where do you want to, knowing that statistic, where do you want to move? If you're a young couple with kids, where do you want to move? And the two districts are going to be that your kid has the best chance of graduating from college, or here, where you're 20% less likely, or 15% in Canfield's case, of graduating from college.
Here, because one,
The
of the
community.
ratio in the community, and two, it's not just put onto the teachers and the administration, it's our parents who push them to go to college.
So there's better parents in Canfield and Polk.
No, I'm not saying that. If you look at Canfield's economics and look at our economics, we're a lower poverty level. We
Not
have
that
more
much.
poverty.
If you look at the demographics, it's not that different.
It is.
Is there any other participants for public participation for the agenda items?
But also, I have been talking to Mr. Rowan, and I talked to Mrs. Lewis, and they're not acceptable in these grades. And we are a great school system, and we have to show it. And we're working together to see what we can better and initiatives and things we can change to bring these grades up. But then again, this is a 2-year comparison on some of the stuff. So I've actually been on the phone with the administration to see what improvements we can make, because it does make a difference to me, because my kids are still in school.
Well, for the 60% of the kids that aren't going to make it out of here and go to college, are we preparing them for life?
That's what we have to do. That's why we have the restricted report cards, to critique the things we need to prepare our students.
And should we have a higher percentage of those, that 60%, going to maybe vocational school where they can learn skills and trades that will better prepare them than actually attending here?
It all depends on the student.
All right, we're going to move on to non-agenda items for public participation. Is there any participants for non-agenda items? All right, seeing as there's none, we're going to go back through and vote on everything. First up was the approval of the fiscal year 19 appropriations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ralph moves. Do I have a second?
I second.
Terry seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is school bus route stops and procedures for the 2018-2019 school year. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Terry motions, Amy seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the declaration of impracticality to transport and approval of payment in lieu of transportation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Terry motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Taylor seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is a resolution engaging realtor for sale of North Lima Stadium property. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Taylor moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ralph seconds. Roll call.
Taylor Christian,
Yes.
Terry Lally,
Yes.
Ralph Lance. Yes. Amy White,
Yes.
Corey Yoder.
Yes. Motion carries. All right, next up is the August, September, October district update. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you. Good evening again. A few things I just wanted to share with everyone. Obviously, I didn't want to talk over Mr. Ferenchek or anyone else, board members who are talking, but I certainly have some response to some of the things I've been hearing tonight. We're 14 days in counting with the first number of weeks of school since 1819 is opened. We had a good start, obviously. We had the first day of school back on August 20th when we had a board meeting. Once again, thanks to many of our staff for a job well done in every single classification. You've seen several new staff tonight. They're doing great. Hopefully they will continue to work hard. I'm sure that they will. I can remember sitting kind of in the same seat but in a different district years ago, and it's nerve-wracking the first few weeks, but for nothing but good stuff, and looking forward to seeing the positive results that our staff is going to provide to our students and to our district. Karen with YIS, that is a terrific program that we're going to see benefit our kids. In fact, we already do. So we're looking forward to working with Karen's staff and just no nonsense but practical way that Karen's staff works with kids and develops respect with the kids, and the kids respect them. Celebrating 50 years, talked about that a lot last month. I had some correspondence from the Whitmers. I can't find the card anywhere. It was from Mark and Linda Whitmer. But they were thanking those that were involved in organizing the 50th anniversary in the football game, a decade of classes. And honestly, people at this table, people in the audience, staff, there's not just one person that's really done one thing. It's been many people collectively just working together to welcome alumni back and to celebrate 50 years of excellence at South Range. And we've had 3 decades come through, and we have 2 left. So we have 2 of the last 3 football games will be recognizing those classes. And for me, the joy was watching the alumni come together, getting to see one another that they hadn't seen in years, and not reminiscing, but also just the fact, oh, is that you, Terry? Is that you, Taylor? Just times you hadn't seen people in maybe 15, 20 years, and it's something that you don't get to see all the time. But, it was very enjoyable for me, and I believe those classes again. Thanks to our South Range music boosters, our athletic boosters, and thanks to Mr. Carlson as well. These people are involved in things with really without much credit, or they're doing it because they want to make things better for kids. And it's easy to criticize, and it's easy to maybe not jump on the bandwagon when they need your help, but they all need our help. Music boosters, athletic boosters, foundation. There's a barbecue this Saturday, and I think Mr. Carlson said there's 65 sold so far. More than that.
Dinner tickets. Yeah.
Dinner tickets.
The other rack.
I mean, certainly there's tons of things going on, but when we support the foundation, the boosters, it comes back to our kids. It's not coming back to our staff, it's coming back to our kids. Talked about school safety last month. As you know, we have a part-time patrolman along with our SRO, Corporal Hartman. That's going very well. I mean, I poked my head in the middle school gym, the other day, and one of the part-time patrolmen, he was running up and down the floor with the kids playing madball. He's developing relationships, much like YIS, developing relationships with kids so that they feel comfortable, they know who it is, and if there's an issue, they're going to get to them. But heard nothing but positive with that patrolman in the building. Stadium update, the music boosters band shell is complete. Visitor side was pushed in, from the visitor side on Memorial Field was pushed into the new band shell. What a difference. If you've been to the games, you can definitely hear the difference when that band plays. The projection coming out of the shell is just incredible. Team rooms, it has temporary occupancy. Last Friday's game is the first time that both teams were able to be in the locker room together. As you know, this is kind of a triple thing. We have football in there, we have soccer, we have cross country. It's a locker room for fall sports. Wrestling we use it in the wintertime for practice. And then spring we have, again, could be track, it could be baseball, whoever needs to get in there. Again, my response, and just a difficult note, none of us, me especially, I'm not above, and would I ever be above criticism. I mean, I'm not perfect, and I've said this before. But constant criticism tears I'm human, tears me down, and it tear any of you down. Constant criticism. We're trying to do what we need to do to make this place better for kids, our present kids, and for the future. You know, I have integrity. My pride would certainly not allow me just to say, you know, the C's pretty good. The C's okay. We're a little bit better than we were last year. There's not a soul in this auditorium or this district who would say a C is okay. Is it better than last year? Yes. Would it make any of you feel better if everyone, the 4 districts got B's, if they got an A and we got a B? Probably not. Why? Because we all want to be the best, and that's what we're striving for. I'm not embarrassed by any means. I see an elementary school progressing, I see a middle school progressing. Mrs. Lally said she took the time, and she did. I'd encourage you all to do that. Drill deeper. If you have ideas, share them with us. But to openly criticize and say, look, whether it's principals, superintendent, Board of Education, last time I checked, we are all in this together. If not, say so, and that's my easy. I can fix that. That's easy. If we don't have people on the same team, I need to know that. Nobody's coming to me saying, hey, we're not on the same team. Everyone's telling me we're working our tails off. That's what we're doing. So, do I get a little bothered by some of this? Absolutely, I'm human. We all are. But I can tell you our teachers, our aides, are working very hard. Why? Because they have pride. They don't want to see a D. They want to see A's. They don't want to see an F. They want to see A's. We don't always do, I'm going to finish up here, we don't always do what's best for our ego. We identify kids, maybe we don't have to identify some of the kids that we did at the elementary level. And it may have made a difference in our grade, but we did. To Mr. Christian's point, I agree. I'm not making any excuses. But there's some good that came of this too. It's not doom and gloom. The district isn't withering, the district is flourishing, you just have to look around. I'm not here to argue with anyone. That's not what I do. I don't want to argue with a soul. I want to work together. So if you feel better by folding your arms and saying, hey, I'm the worst guy you've ever been around, the worst superintendent, shame on you, because we're not working together if that's the case. That's my final word. We're gonna do better. We're gonna keep working at it. And the only reason we aren't, I'm looking at the kids sitting in the auditorium seats right now and saying, why wouldn't we? We want to give up on people? We've never done that. Back in the 90s, to Mr. Frenchek's point, I was the voting principal. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was one measure. It was a proficiency test. One measure. We did great. Leadership's important. Absolutely. Very important. I'm never too high. I'm never too low. I'm reliable. I'm consistent, and I care. You want to criticize that? Have at it. Thanks, Board. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is executive session. We would be going in for Ohio Revised Code 121.22 for the purpose of confidential discussion of employment of a public employee or official, to discuss the compensation of an employee, to consider the sale of property at competitive bidding, and to discuss school security protocol. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ralph moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Amy seconds. Mr. Phillips, roll call.
Taylor Christian? No. Terry Lally?
Yes.
Ralph Franks? Yes. Amy White?
Yes.
Corey Oak?
Yes. The board enters executive session at 8:10 p.m. Students, you are free to leave now.
Yo, look, it's all recording.
No, I got up and tried to.
Hi, Rob.
Say that, Bobby. Hanging in there. Cleaned up. Yeah, barely made it.
Gentlemen? All right, that's right. I didn't get to say a lot of those last Friday, though. Hi.
Hi guys, how are you? Hey, I got a special request.
I might have a special request for you.
Oh, that's fine, we'll share it. My wife likes some of your marshmallows. I saw you were assisting for your daughter. Lori said, here's what we
all have. I don't just.
That's what she said. Don't know what you think, John. I'll come up.
He's great, and I just want to say he has a success rate of
I know he is. I know
I'm
he
not on tape anymore. He's good. He is actually finishing up graduates and will be in official right now. Thank you. Yeah. He's actually just accepted a job back in the
Well, have a good night.
Here's his contestant.
Is it hot?
And maybe I just did. You've got 40. Basically, the kids that if you do CCP,
preparation for success thing.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think we're telling kids not to do stuff?
yes. I mean, that's not. Are we on? I'm not saying that you have to say,
And we get thankful.
Don't give me. I know, you're trying to say it. We're not telling kids to do it either. We're not. But
don't go to high school, just go right to college.
I think we're these teachers. We can't. We don't have. And I'm not blaming you. There's a bunch of things we don't have. With these kids, we want everybody in senior year. Those 43 kids should be in senior year because they should be getting it may be tougher, but they're going to get Steve, they're going to get the college credit. You only teach 2 English credits in college.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you know what? That means you shouldn't be CCP. Maybe kids in your English place to do CCP.
It may be harder, but you know what? That number, Steve, that number doesn't lie.
I'm not saying
they're
it's
20% ahead.
I'm not saying it's
they're
not.
20% ahead of us.
Your logic for this is wrong. It's not correct. Kids are getting out of the they don't want to do work. It's simple. I'm telling you that. You ask them. They don't want to do it. They want to go to the foster program and do CDI. Or they want to go to the Salem community.
The senior project was a great piece of years, but the senior project's a waste of time. That's
You see it.
Okay.
Shut the hell up. I'm not talking to you. This was an A&B conversation. See your way out of it. You want to talk to me for a minute?
I don't even want to talk to you.
Then go, turn around and get away.
You think it's so great there? You're doing it all your
63% of the kids that graduate 2011 class, 63% 50% graduate college. 20 loaded class, South Range, 44.5%, it's a 20% difference.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Because we are not preparing the kids adequately for college, we're not. We don't have programs.
Rich, I graduated top of my class, and I graduated top of my class in college, let me tell you, and I didn't want to do that. So I changed my life. Not everybody is gonna be a pharmacist and sit on their ass.
No, so I'll tell you, come spend a day with me and see who sits on their ass, right?
Yeah.
I barely have time to go to the bathroom. I barely have time to go to the bathroom, and I eat lunch in about 10 minutes.
I'm sure of it, Rich.
My kids are gone, Mr. Hauser.
Then leave, then you go too.
2 of my 3 are gone. He plays football, he plays the rest of the time. He's down at YSU, he comes back here for band and chemistry. And the only reason he's here for chemistry is because he's not back to the teacher. That's why he's here for that. Next year, he probably won't be here. I love the kids. And we looked. I can't find a neighborhood I like any better. I love my neighborhood.
And I don't know why you always went down with it.
I don't downgrade it. Really?
You what?
If your kid brought home that Mr. Hauser, 3 D's and 2 A's and a B, what would you do? If my kid brought that home, grounded, my kid would be grounded. You would have been proud if you brought home 3 D's.
So that's,
Well, I'll tell you what.
that's not what's causing that percentage.
I'll tell you what, that doesn't say much for you.
It's really not what's causing it.
It's better than 4 F's.
It's not really what's causing it, honest. I didn't even know.
And listen, and there is, and you know what?
Don't you think it is?
And that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not gonna argue that. But I'm gonna tell you, I wanna see what makes up the 40%. I wanna see that. I truly wanna see that. And when you talk about the career center, I'm gonna tell you something.
We need kids that can drywall. Because
we send 20 every year.
Steve.
We send 40 kids to the career center every year.
Good.
We should junior class, 20.
We should probably send 40.
Poland doesn't send 20 total.
And those kids are going to have a hard time life because if all you have is a high school diploma today, you can wait your rear end with
If I
that.
talk to you and say your son needs to go to the career center, and you say my son's not going to the career center,
I've told my son,
what do I do then?
Ricky came home and you know what he told me? He said, I think it was, I forget who was telling him, but somebody here or somebody that came in. And he said, wow, aircraft mechanics make like $60,000 a year. I said, be an aircraft mechanic if you want. I have no problem with that.
What I'm saying to you is not every parent. When I go to this parent and say, listen, my suggestion for you, look, I'm dealing with 8 kids right now that are going to struggle to graduate. 8 kids. If they would have went to the career center, they would be way closer to graduation.
And that's where they should be.
But they don't want to go there. So I can't say, hey, Ricky's going to the career center, Rich. I don't care what you say. He's going to the career center.
I understand that. Have you had the conversation with the parents?
We've had conversation after conversation after conversation.
You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it
So
drink.
that's kind of where
the biggest problem I have, the 65% or 35%, no, 65% of kids, right? 55% of kids. Those kids, if all you have is a high school education today, you're worth $10 an hour.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, a high school education is good work, and
if you don't have a high school diploma, those 8 kids, I'm telling you.
I understand that.
They can't get in the military. They can't get into the military. They can't go and get shot at on the front lines of our military.
But in the workforce, you're worth about $10, $11 an hour. That's it.
Paying for what?
If you have a high school diploma, because I have my pharmacy, my store's
Can I tell you
loaded
something?
with
It's sad for me to say this, but for some of my kids, that's my goal for them.
And you're granted for some of them, but I mean, you try to hire a good plumber, try to hire a good drywaller, try to hire.
I get all that. My dad's a flipping carpenter. He's 90 years old.
It's a great trade.
Exactly.
We need more of you.
But I can't say, Mrs. Frommel, you're going to the career center and you're going to go into carpentry. That has to be the kid. That has to be the parents. It has to, I mean, and our parents, I'm not saying they all do it, because I'm telling you, as a guidance counselor in Poland, there would be a year where we have 6 kids in Poland.
That's juniors and seniors. We have 6 kids at the Career Center. Graduation at the Career Center, Bob's one would tell me, you don't even need to go, we only got 3 kids. You don't even need to go. Graduation now, I go to graduation every year at the Career Center, because we got 20 or 25 kids that are graduating from the Career Center.
Good. We need those 20 or 25.
I'm not saying.
I went out last fall, I went out because I needed a bump, Mackenzie tapped the bumper on my car, so I ordered a plastic bumper, I told him, I said, hey, he said, yeah, so I went out there. There were like 8 kids in the auto body program. They make damn good money. They're making, like I said,
The kids and the parents have to go out there. I can't make them, listen, let me ask you something. Every sophomore, Ricky Frenchek, he went to the Career Center his sophomore year if he was in English class. Every sophomore in our building goes to the Career Center game. Every sophomore. And they pick 3 programs and they go through 3 programs. Every sophomore that's in my building.
I think that's a good idea.
I think it's great. I think we need more.
Can I tell you something though? When I was at Poland, there was only a select number of kids that went. Hey guys, do you want to go to the Career Center? Do you want to go to the Career Center and check out some programs? Yeah. Sign your name up if you do. You get 20 kids, 25. We would get those kids that were valedictorian that didn't want to go to class in Poland for one day, and wanted to go to the Career Center, and then we stopped at Wendy's on South Avenue for lunch, so they thought it was a blow-off day. Here, Erica Berkey loads up 2 buses, we go to the Career Center. Every kid. So we're trying as hard as we can to get the kids where they need to be and where we think they need to be. But it's the same thing all the time. Look, I think you need to be in advanced math class.
What's that? Raymond.
I will tell you exactly what happened. When I was in 8th grade in Oregon, you're going to high school, they said you had to pick, I was recommended for honors English. I didn't take it because Bob Grove had a reputation even in middle school being SOB. So I didn't take it, plus I was taking, I knew I was going to pharmacy, down, focused on that. Hey, Bob Grove for English, Bob Grove for English. I get an A in his class. It comes down for sophomore English, and he says, you're taking honors English next year. He said, no, I'm not. Or I said, no, I'm not. He said, you don't understand. I'm not asking you if you're taking sophomore or honors English next year. I'm telling you you're taking honors English next year. And if you don't sign up right now, I'm going to call your parents, and when I'm done with the conversation I have with your parents, you'll be in honors English next year. But do we do that? Does the teacher call me and say, well, your kid
No, we make recommendations on their schedule so that when they come here for schedule night, when you open up the schedule, it says, I think this kid should be in honors English, honors math, honors this, honors that, or not.
If Bob Grove would have told me that, it wouldn't have said he was going to call my parents. I would have been in regular English.
It's totally different.
But it isn't.
It is.
I think if a teacher called up and said, look, I'm telling you, your kid needs to be in honors English, your kid needs to be in this, or needs to be in that, and he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to put the work in. But the recommendation
My
I'm
junior
giving.
year, I was told that I had to go to Boise by my high school guy.
So was I.
Okay, guess what I told my high school guy? I'm not going to Boise. She said, well, you need to go home and talk to your parents about it tomorrow. I said, okay, I will. I went home. I never talked to my parents about it.
Exactly. If I would have said, okay,
I went back the next day and I said, hey, Mrs. Derrick, my parents said it's okay, I'm not going to go.
But the guidance counselor should have called your father and said, that's fine, if you don't want to talk to
She
your
did.
dad.
She did. And she absolutely did.
And your dad wouldn't say you don't have to go.
No, my dad didn't. My mom said I had to go.
Did you
My mom
go?
said you go.
Exactly.
Okay, but guess what? That's not always the case now. That's not always the case.
Nothing is always, Steve, but I think 9 times out of 10, the parents are going to go.
Rich, Erica Berkey called probably 10 seniors today, 2 classes on their schedule, 3 classes on their schedule. Called 10, 12, 15 parents that are seniors. Hey, look, your kid should be in the algebra for college class. Even though they're not going to get the college credit, they should still be in that class. We could have kids sit in that class, even though they're not getting the NCAA credit.
Yeah, I get that.
But they still need to be in that class. It's all we do. So then I go to the kid and say, okay, where are you planning to go to college? I'm planning to go to OU. Are you going to get into OU? Well, I got a 3.1. That's kind of teeter. I'm a 19 on my AC. Okay, well, guess what the next thing they look at? Your senior schedule. They want to see if you're in classes or if you're not in classes.
So look at your ACT too. What's your
Okay,
ACT?
but if you got a 19 and you're a borderline,
Well,
you're right on the
if you're
fence.
19, you're not going to get to 21 not taking this class, so I suggest you get your ass in class.
But the next thing they're looking at too is their senior class. Oh, I see an art class, I see a music class, I see this, I don't see chemistry, I don't see advanced chemistry, I don't see physics, I don't see an advanced math, I don't see any substance here. So guess what? You're going to get in because you have substance on your schedule. She's not getting in because she doesn't have substance on her schedule. You both have the exact ACT score. You both have a very similar GPA. The third thing they go to is not what you took your freshman year or your sophomore year. What are you in right now? What are you in right now? But I'm gonna just tell you, our percentage of kids, and this is skewed, I'm not bragging about this. Our percentage of kids that are in CCP, Rich, is probably percentage-wise. If you go to board.
You're higher than Canfield.
You know why?
And you know why? Because Canfield pushes everything AP.
No.
Do you realize that was
because Canfield doesn't offer all the classes we offer in our building.
Here's the other thing. Where is it?
We have the convenience. Our kids don't change their schedule. Third period, I'm going to math, and this is a CCP math. I don't have to go to Kent State, YSU. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm just going to go to third period with Mrs. Fishel. She's teaching calculus and stats. I'm going to get a calc credit. I'm going to get a stats
The difference here is the difference between taking a college credit class here and taking a college credit class at college is that here we're still spoon feeding. Hannah's struggling her ass off in calculus right now. She got an A. She has a YSU credit, Calc 1A from Southbridge. She's taking it at West Virginia right now. She is struggling her ass off. It's the same class. It should be reviewed. It's Calc 1. Well, she's taking Calc 1 here. She's taking it over again because she hadn't had it.
It's the pace now, so we've had to change the pace for our kids. But going to Kent State,
we never spoon feeding too much, Steve.
Well,
let me ask you this, because I don't know. Do you make it a requirement for high school kids to go to cooking class and like just?
Well, they have to get the 21 credits, and eventually most of our kids have to take a family and consumer science class, an art class, a music class. Everybody has to take technology. Everybody has to take a technology class to graduate. They have to have a half a credit of technology.
We should, in my opinion, there should be an honest, every parent and every child should have to come in probably in 8th grade sometime.
We try to do that.
And there should be an honest conversation based on where your child is at right now.
It's hard to do that, Rich. It's hard to do that.
Want me to do it? Steve, I will volunteer to sit down and have an honest heart-to-heart conversations with people.
It's hard to do that. I'm just telling you.
I understand it's hard, but that's the thing that needs to be done.
Dave Huffman was a counselor at Poland before I took his place. They called him the Dream Smasher because in the time that he was the guidance counselor, he was allowed to do that. Paul Julia was a social studies teacher in our building. Football coach, social studies teacher. Okay, great guy for our kids, a good social studies teacher, a good football coach. When he was a senior at Poland High School, when he went in to meet with Dave Huffman said, "Paul, you better go to the military because you're not getting done. You're a lazy ass in class. You're this, you're that. You're not college material." Paul Julia will tell you the story. Dave Huffman told Paul Julia, "You're not college material." Guy goes to college, he plays football, he becomes a history teacher. He teaches history in Crestview for years, teaches history there. I mean,
let's be honest. How hard is it to go to college and do history?
Well, but Rich, it's still, you gotta go to college.
Great, but if you're an athlete, they're gonna put you at study table, you're gonna get spoon-fed, they're gonna take your hand and guide you through.
Basketball, YSU, so watch what you say. But major with a 3.7 GPA.
Yeah,
I didn't get spoon-fed, and I didn't have every professor that I understood what they were saying because they were Indian and I couldn't understand all the words they were saying.
You took real classes. I mean, in all honesty.
But you still got.
You know who Roger Patterson is?
Yeah.
I had Roger Patterson. You know where Roger Patterson got his undergraduate degree? Any idea where Roger?
I don't really know that.
He got a degree in chemical engineering from Dartmouth. The reason he ended up being a teacher was so he could get his ass shot off in Vietnam. He figured I'll go teach, get the deferment, and then as soon as the war's over, I'll go be chemical engineer. He fell in love with teaching. Anyway, I had him, and I remember I don't remember what they call it analysis. It was basically a pre-calc back then. We take the test, and everybody bombs the test. You had to fill out your name, address, phone number, what you wanted to be after graduation. He gets the cards out. Pharmacist, forget it. Doctor, forget it. Engineer, forget it. Teacher, anybody can be a teacher. You know what I mean? And that's when he went. I mean, you had honest. I mean, they would beat you up. We are sitting here. I went out to the Toledo Miami game this weekend. 2 of my college professors. We had a conversation. The quality of the student that is being produced, not just here, everywhere. We are failing this country.
Listen to what I'm saying. I don't know that any school in our area would go to a kid and say, "You should go and do this," or "You should go." It's just not.
I wouldn't say you should. I would say if you, unless you improve substantially, unless you really buckle down and you get your test scores up and you work ethic up substantially.
The 8 kids I had to meet with, every one of them brought their mom or their dad, or both mom and dad. I had myself, I had Erica Berkey, and I had Sam Caputo from the county. And I'm looking across the table with people and saying, look, when May gets here, the kid might not graduate. Might not graduate. And they're not getting to 18 points. Yeah.
Some do, some don't. There's
some of them cry.
There's some that don't.
And some of them said, what can we do? And I said, listen, I'm doing everything. We are gonna do absolutely.
But these kids are
everything we
seniors,
possibly
right?
can. Yeah.
I bet if you went back to 8th grade, those kids weren't any different in 8th grade. They were at the bottom of the class. The conversation shouldn't have been their senior year. It should have been in 8th grade.
But it was still rich. It was. But again, you can't really, the main conversation was their sophomore year. Because that's when we get to the kids and say, look, you should really look at the career center. But guess what? Even the kids that go to the career center, we got 11 kids at the career center. Because they're making these tests that the kids have to take next to impossible. Go online and look at it's called Work Keys. Go online and look at the test. Go online, do me a favor, Work Keys, it's all one word, 2 Ks. Go online and look at the test. The kids have to get a 13 on this test to graduate. Hey, you could go to adult ed classes right now if you went to the career center, be an EMT, be in an ambulance. On the Work Keys test, you need to get it. But the kids that are in high school, they want to get a high school diploma, they gotta get 13. You want to work in the court and be the hey, you need 12 on the Work Keys test. But to graduate from high school, you need 13. And you need a 13 on that test, and then you need to do some program and get industry credential and get 12 points. But that's the easy part for those kids. Because I'm going to the career center for welding, and I love welding. I'm doing everything I need to do. I'm passing all the state boards tests. I'm passing all this stuff. I'm going to get like 12 points because I love doing it. But I go to the Work Keys and I'm getting 7. Kids are really close. 9.
I don't even understand how that's possible, but I've never.
Can I tell you something else? It's not just our school. Youngstown Early College, hey, 16 kids. Youngstown Early College. These are city kids that go to YSU.
It's the best of the rest of the city. Yeah.
16 kids are going to YSU. They're going to have an associate's degree in May. They can't pass the test,
No.
right?
Yeah, I would be annoyed about that.
They cannot pass the Work Keys test to get a 13. They can't get a remediation-free score on the ACT, or they can't get 18 graduation points. They aren't going to graduate high school, but they're going to have an associate's degree from YSU.
You have a college kid. I go up to buy 2 Pops, 2 Cracker Jack at a football game in Toledo on Saturday. $14.50, hand them a 20. You know what happens? Gets the calculator out to figure out that she owes me $5.50.
That's what they do. Unfortunately, that's what they do. Listen, I got a son at home that I'm always on. Here, I'm sitting right here. His friend's sitting right there. You don't think they would just say, hey, after school, you want to come over to my house and blah, 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 you know, this, that, or the other? He's texting his friend. He's texting his friend saying, hey, after school, they want to come over and but that's what we're dealing with.
I'm just telling you, as somebody who's dealing with young kids and education, not just here, it's everywhere. We do probably a better job than others. We are failing this country. This country I tell her this is going to be the first generation of Americans that's not going to have the education skills to face the people that are retired. And that's the God's honest truth. The caliber of police graduates, these kids can't work.
Okay, it's 8:34. We're back in open session. Mr. Dunham, do you want to just quickly go through?
Absolutely. I have roughly 10 names on here for your approval as substitute teachers for the 18-19 school year. See them in front of you. Any questions with them? The other ones would be the classified aides. There are 4. Approved the following as summer clerical and custodial help at the SRCEA Board of Education's negotiated hourly rate. They were missed last month. Lisa Gorby at $12.86 an hour and Jill White $11.86. Approve the following ticket takers and scorekeepers: Ben Irons and April Haberger. Approve the recall of the following part-time classified educational aid. This would be for 5-hour day. It's Christine Miller, 1 day a week. Ryan Dunn is an OBI onboard instructor. As needed, $17.47 would be his rate. Scott Young to perform transportation department garage work, some light mechanical work at $10.50 an hour. Then any outside extra hours for Ryan Dunn, Director of Transportation, needs to be pre-approved by me at rate 26. We have 2 supplemental positions, one for boys basketball, 7th grade, Michael Murphy, asking you to approve him, Terry Kenny, assistant cross-country coach. Memorandum of Understanding, this is between the board, of course, and SREA. This would be establishing the field ed teacher be compensated at a rate of $100 per semester, per student per semester. This agreement is necessary due to the added responsibilities or beyond the normal schedule of the participating teacher. The position will be under supervision of the high school building principal throughout the term of the memorandum. And it's field ed for those kids in the CPI program. Need that English language arts credit. Approve Ange Rosen as the field ed teacher for 18-19 as per the MOU. And then continuing with Frank Dispenza as an interim marching band assistant for the months of September, October, and November through November 30th, 2000. Questions?
Is there a motion?
I motion.
Jeremy motions, do I have a second? Amy seconds, roll call?
Keller Christian? Yep. Gary Lally?
Yes.
Ralph Lance?
Yes.
Amy White?
Yes.
Lori Hill?
Yes. Next is adjournment, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Amy moves, do I have a second?
I second.
Ralph seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
What's that?
But it's worth more.
So was the school, but we gave it away for 80.
Would you apply for more than 85,000?
The school? Yeah. Knowing what I know now, hell yeah, because you turned around and flipped it for 225, Jimmy. He did Ed Schaefer made out like the end brother. He just didn't sell the content.
Sure about it, Rick, sure about it.
Had I known, I probably would have.
Yes, sir, you can.
You didn't even look at the content. The content's inside the problem.
It's
not 25.
Listen, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, Rich. We auctioned zoning.
You gave the desks away to competing school districts for over $5 a year. Is the shop open still out of green for Dan?
Terry, see you Saturday? Yeah. I will probably be a few minutes late. Yeah, the end tonight. Get the rest of your.
No,
it's not.
It's
Varsity one? Yeah, it's the little one. I know. That's the first game. So that's the, no, they'll do piano, and JV. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm going. Let me.
Who's that?
Do you do the announcements during the call? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on LinkedIn.
We're not allowed. We're low raters.
Can you not enter the program? That?
I don't think they would do it because